Today is day 3 of the Women of Christmas Bible reading plan. I really enjoyed today's reading. Very short, but I thought it was very meaty. A lot to take away. And we are in Luke chapter 1, verse 39 through 45 and verse 57 to 66. I have 3 or 4 points. And the first one being right at the beginning where Mary goes to see Elizabeth. God uses Elizabeth to confirm what he was already doing in Mary. I always say that you don't fall in love with people. You fall in love with the Jesus inside of people. And that's exactly what happened here with Mary and Elizabeth. The Jesus inside of Mary literally met with the Jesus inside of Elizabeth. Both were very faithful women. And when faith meets faith, joy abounds. When the cousins met together, the fruit of both of their faith overflowed, and both were able to rejoice together in that. The second thing is, yesterday we talked about how Elizabeth was quietly rejoicing. God had answered her prayer, and she didn't feel the need to shout it from the rooftops because she didn't care who knew. She knew she had been faithful to the Lord. Well, today in verse 57 and 58, we see it was when the fruit of that prayer was born that everyone else was able to rejoice with her. Because of her age, likely at the time, if she would have been publicly out rejoicing when the prayer was answered and she had conceived, she would have been judged pretty harshly and ridiculed for being pregnant at such an age. So it wasn't until she was holding the fruit of her prayers that her rejoicing became public. My next point is that God trusted them. The same way they trusted God to be faithful to his promises in their life, God knew from before the answered prayer that they were righteous. They were obedient to his commands. So he knew when the time came to be obedient and name their son John versus naming him a family name, even with pushback, they would still be obedient. And that says a lot because we ask God for a lot of things. At least I know I do. But the question is, hey, when I answer your prayer, can I trust you to do my commands within this answered prayer? And my fourth point is that let's not forget that the Lord shut Zechariah's mouth for a lack of belief. So as soon as he wrote down the name John and he put action to faith, yes, this is the child that the Lord has given us, and he told us to name him John. His name is John. And when he put action to that was when the Lord finally opened up his mouth again. And the first thing he did was praise. And when people saw that praise and heard that praise, they then started telling everyone else, hey, look at what God did in their life. Look at what God did for Zechariah and Elizabeth. Look at how God answered their prayers. And that praise and that obedience and that faithfulness became a testimony. And the Bible says that everyone who heard that laid it up in their heart and knew that the Lord was with that child. So their obedience and their faithfulness spoke for itself. Their praise and their testimony of who God was in their life and what God had done in their life was enough, and it spoke for itself. God needs no defense. But just to sum up today's reading, it's God will use people to confirm what he is doing in your life, and there's nothing wrong with asking God for confirmation. Also, can God trust you to be obedient? Have you already been obedient? Have you shown God that you can be trusted with his calling on your life? God allowed her to enjoy that deep personal relationship with him before the fruit was shown to everyone. Tomorrow's going to be day 4, and we'll be talking about Mary.